Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's practice is going to be strengthening for the upper body and specifically the shoulders. Hopefully this practice can be used to help prevent shoulder injuries and keep the upper body strong and healthy. Let's get started in a puppy pose. Knees stack under hips and arms walk long in front of you. Extend chin and chest towards the mat. Gaze comes towards hands. And melting the heart towards the floor, opening up the upper body, and preparing for some movement. Press into hands to lift forearms off the mat. Walk hands back into body until you come into a tabletop position. Wrists stack under shoulders and knees are stacked under hips. Take some wrist circles in a clockwise direction. Warming up the wrists before we put any weight on them. Switch directions, counterclockwise. And eventually coming to neutral. Maybe walk hands out just a step and come up into a plank pose. Lift knees and shoulders stack over top of the wrists. Bend into knees, downward facing dog, hips lift towards sky. And like a wave, come up onto toes and ripple the body forward. Plank pose. Bend into knees, downward facing dog, hips lift towards sky. Come up onto toes, ripple forward like a wave until shoulders stack over wrists. Plank pose. And bend into knees, hips lift towards sky, downward facing dog. Come up onto toes and ripple forward till you find your plank pose. And bend into knees, hips lift towards sky, downward facing dog. And walk hands towards body, slowly, one step at a time, until you find a forward fold at the back of your mat. And walk hands back towards the top of the mat. Downward facing dog. Walk hands back towards feet. Forward fold. And walk hands towards top of the mat until you find your downward facing dog. And one more time, hands walk back towards feet for forward fold, the back of the mat. And walk hands towards front of the mat. Downward facing dog. And we'll build some strength in the shoulders. Dropping elbows towards the mat. Dolphin pose. Press into hands. Lift elbows from the mat. Down dog. Drop elbows. Dolphin. Press into palms. Lift elbows. Down dog. And drop elbows towards mat. Dolphin. Press into palms. Lift elbows from the mat. Downward facing dog. And one more time. Drop into elbows. Dolphin pose. Let's hold here. This will be one of 2 dolphin holds today. And dolphin holds are very good for the upper body because they build both strength and flexibility, contributing to shoulder mobility. Knowing that if this ever becomes too challenging or painful, you can release the shape. And eventually moving into a forearm plank, shifting the body towards mat, lowering the hips. We'll move through a bit of a sequence here. So bring right hand to stack under right shoulder, left hand to stack under left shoulder, plank pose. Shift to the outside of the right foot. Lift left arm towards sky, side plank. Return left arm to floor, plank pose. Come back onto toes. And shift back into forearm plank. Right forearm comes to floor, and left forearm comes to floor. Let's take the same sequence, second side. Bring left hand to plant under left shoulder. Right hand to plant under right shoulder, plank pose. Shift onto outside of the left foot. Right arm sweeps up towards ceiling, side plank. And return right hand to floor, plank pose, and lower back to forearm plank. Left forearm lowers, and right forearm lowers. Let's move back into dolphin pose for our second dolphin hold of practice today. Again, working on mobility in the shoulders. Remembering you can release this pose if needed. And we'll do one more burst of heat for today before cooling down. Remember to connect to your breath in this shape as much as possible. Taking a deep inhale and exhale, let it go. So on your next inhale, come up onto toes, bend into the knees. We're going to hop through to a forward fold at the top of our mat. And hanging out here, maybe grabbing opposite elbows with hands. Giving the shoulders a bit of a break. On your next inhale, rolling up the spine one vertebrae at a time until you come to standing. Extend arms overhead and dive over the legs, hinging at the hips, forward fold. Blend into hands. Either step or hop feet to the back of the mat, plank pose. And lower elbows to the mat, dolphin. And we'll take that flow 2 more times. Inhale, come up onto toes, bend the knees, hop through to forward fold. Grab opposite elbows. Let the upper body hang heavy. Inhale, roll up the spine, one vertebrae at a time. Arms extend high overhead. And dive over the legs, hinging at the hips. Forward fold. Plant into the hands. Hop or step to the back of the mat. Plank pose. And lower into the elbows, shifting the weight backwards. Dolphin pose. And one more time before we cool things down. Inhale, come up onto toes, bend into the knees. Hop towards the top of the mat, forward fold. Again, grabbing opposite elbows. Letting the upper body hang heavy. Inhale, roll up the spine, one vertebrae at a time. Arms extend high overhead. Exhale, dive over the legs. Maybe palms meet the mat. Hop or step back to your plank pose. And lower elbows to the mat, dolphin pose. Gently bring knees to mat and walk arms out long in front of you, puppy pose, extending chest and chin towards the mat. We'll take one shoulder stretch on each side before I leave you for today. So walking arms back slightly towards the body. Extend right arm open to the right side and thread the right arm under the left arm, lowering the back of the right arm to the mat. Maybe walking left arm out long in front of you and lowering right ear to the mat. And when you're ready, walk left arm back towards body and plant right hand back on the mat. And swap out the side. Extend left arm out to the side. And thread left arm under right arm, maybe walking right arm out in front of you. When you're ready, bring right arm back towards body. Extend left arm up and plant it back beside the right arm. And I'll leave you here for today. Thank you so much for practicing with me. I hope that you enjoyed the shoulder strength and that we can practice again together soon. Thank you.